At what OEE do your lines need to perform to even be able to make next year's production? Hello, I'm Tom. Welcome to my channel where I talk about continuous improvement in an industrial setting. And today we will continue, check my previous video on the topic, the capacity and labor analysis part. And now it is really about capacity analysis, not just OEE, but what does that do to our plant volumes? Do we need to work on OEE somewhere, or is it just sort of to decrease cost a little? Super important things to know, especially in your budgeting cycle or when you're making your strategic planning for next year, your annual operations plan, but a good thing to keep in mind at any moment when you are prioritizing your focus improvement teams or other improvement efforts that are aimed at improving the OEE, decreasing the downtime on your lines. See, we have discussed already in other videos that when you increase your OEE, you can basically do two things. But, well, you can also do nothing with it, and then OEE doesn't give you anything, any financial value. There are two big ways to get financial value from OEE, and that is to make more products, but this is only interesting if you can also sell them, or to reduce the total machine time. And by reducing machine time, you also can reduce man hours, operator time, and that means decreasing your cost. Now, we will focus on that first part in this video mostly. See, one of the things that I would advise any company to do during that budgeting process is to have a good look at what are our capacities. Now, I've already entered sort of the same example numbers we used in the previous video, and that is that we have 3 machines, 3 lines, and I'll go through line A quickly. We plan to have a weekly volume of 1,200 products. We know we can make 15 products per hour if everything is perfect, right? This is the nameplate capacity or the nominal speed of that line. But that line currently runs at an OEE of 50%. So in actual fact, we don't use 80 hours, which would be 1,200 divided by 15, but we need to be using 160 hours each week. So our asset utilization for this line is 95%. Because we use 160 hours each week, and a week has 168 hours. I'm assuming 24/7 production. When you have a factory that is only open 12 hours, 5 days a week, you take 60 hours as your divisor, right? So this is something, I do this stuff for factories, for companies, and they pay me good money for it, and thank you to clients who have already hired me to do these things. But this is what I do for a living, part of what I do for a living. I think it would be so nice to together with you and a couple of other enthusiasts of operational excellence and continuous improvement who also have factories, large or small, and maybe with a corporate program, maybe not, but for some reason you are the one that sort of wants to get that operational excellence part on the map for your organization, to get together and do this together, right? So we take 2, maybe 3 weeks. I'll make a program for it, during which every day you get tips, and we also have a agenda that is based so that you know what the expectations are you on track or not, what things to think about. We'll have a couple of live calls during that time, and then just learn from me, but also learn from each other, get direct feedback, and discuss the obstacles. So get, at the end of that, get your department or factory's capacity and labor analysis complete with target setting and costs and all those things around OEE, crew size. So for direct labor and for line capacities, you will have everything. I think it would be really, really cool to do with you and together with another couple of enthusiasts. If you also think that this is a cool idea, check the link below, well, up right now, but also below in the description, on how to get onto sort of the waiting list for that, how to sort of get yourself into that. Because, if I'm the only one who thinks that this is a cool idea and nobody really wants to join it, okay, I won't. But I think it will be cool. So if you also think it will be cool, get your name onto that list. In all honesty, at the moment of filming this video, I don't have a nice freebie ready, but I promise by that time, if you put your name on the list, I will get you something anyway. Even if we don't do this whole implementation challenge, I will get you probably the file to actually do this with some instructions. You will get that for me just by showing the interest, because I think that every company needs this, especially roughly now, right? So this August, September, October type of time of the year is the ideal time to check these things for next year, because most companies are making their annual operations plan at the moment. But back to the program. So per week, per full 24/7 week, we need 95% of the time. And we can also do this for the other lines. Now, this is almost a full week. And that last line actually doesn't need all of the time. It'll probably quite frequently have the OEE category of no orders or planned out. Those not needed. Planning knows it. They usually don't plan in this line on Saturdays and Sundays because, most expensive days of the week, or maybe not on several night shifts when it's more difficult to get people. Something like that, right? So that I hope you can sort of feel this situation, right? That this is something you can see happen in your own organization. Some lines are up the whole time. Some lines don't need to be up the whole time. Maybe you even have a situation where two lines both have roughly 50 and then together they form 100. So it's sort of a combo line. This also happens. But basically what we see here is that is the asset utilization. How many of the available hours do we need to run this line? Not effectively, right? Because they all have less than 100% OEEs. So the effective hours are always less, but the hours including breakdowns, including cleaning and setup. Now, what is the key component of, by the way, this is already crucial information to have, but what is the key component of that capacity planning? When we're making next year's operating plan, we're also going to put in a volume. Now, let's assume that our company is in a great market and next year we expect to sell more product. So the commercial departments are asking of us, please, next year we would like to make 1,400 pieces. Right, so about a 15 or so% increase. And you see that back in your asset utilization. Because if we keep that OEE of 50% and now we're going to have to make 1,400 products, what is our utilization going to be? Well, it's going to be too high. That's what it is. Because we cannot make 1,400 products within 1 week if our OEE is 50%. Right, so we need to do something. Are we going to extra shifts? Well, that's already not possible. So if you are planning this for that 12 hours, 5 days a week, an option can be, okay, let's add Saturdays, which is sort of okay temporary solution, but usually pretty expensive. But in this case, when we're already talking 24/7, the only real way to get this out, apart from buying a new line or offloading product to another line, is to improve the OEE. And here, I will tell you, we want an asset utilization of about 95%, right? We don't want to aim for 100. This actually is too high already, but we'll get to that. So to get to 95% asset utilization with that volume, what OEE do we need? And we can do the calculations. And then we get to 58%. So we need to improve our OEE by 8 percentage points on line A to be able to safely make that volume. Now, why 95 and not 100? Because not every week is the same, right? If this is your average weekly production, please don't put it at 100%. If you calculate it in a slightly different way, where you say, I'm going to take my main hitting weeks, so my fullest weeks, okay, then 100% asset utilization in your fullest weeks is also okay. But the more common way to do it is just to sort of take the average week that you get over a year or a quarter, then you want to stick around that 95. Much lower is also not ideal, because then you have equipment standing around that's not really doing anything. This is worse than not having equipment at all and taking off your customers. But usually your higher up managers and your CapEx engineers, they don't like this because you're not using your equipment to the fullest. But 95 is about ideal. Now, some of the other scenarios. So line B should already be improving OEE. But if they also get a 10% bump in volume prediction, they will also need a higher OEE. And on line C, right now we have the capacity. If that gets a good 10% extra volume, well, we actually still don't reach 95. So here, we're not going to say, well, 35% OEE would be enough. No, for this situation, we stick to the current OEE. We're not going to go backwards in efficiency, but this is the OEE target that we need for capacity. And this way, that allows you to prioritize your OEE improvement efforts there where needed. So not on line C. It can be useful to reduce costs, but first serve the market only, then reduce your cost. So what do we need? We need an 8% increase, an 8 percentage point increase on line A, and a 9% point increase in the efficiency of line B. And for those, we need to find the improvement themes, the opportunities that we see in the variability of speed losses, or maybe we can do breakdown reduction. This is a whole other topic that we'll not get into in this video. But here we get a very good reason why we need a certain OEE on line next year. And this is so much stronger than your company, organizations, or the business unit management saying, we want you to increase OEE by 5% year on year until you reach 80. Like, yeah, I would also like that, but how about we check what the business actually needs before making such blanket statements? This is what you need. Then, of course, if we get into the planning of where is the improvement opportunity, because going from 60 to 69 is possible, but that's getting to, well, more difficult. From 50 to 58 is easier. But the closer you get to 80 or even 90%, the more difficult it becomes to add a point of OEE. But we'll also look at the breakdown of this 60% of OEE. So what is in the other 40? If that is all planned types of downtime, and they are very stable, and we need some re-engineering. If there is a lot of up and down, and certain shifts maybe can already work at 70 or 75% OEE, while other shifts cannot, then we know this is going to be relatively easy, very doable within a year at least. You can do a lot within a year if you focus your improvement efforts on a line. So this will give you the target. It will also, if the follow-up analysis sort of tells you we don't see it, we don't see a 9 percentage points increase in OEE, then you can also put back into your budgeting process, we're not going to make 550 pieces, at least not without external production, a new line, offloading to another line, things like that, right? So this gives you the opportunity to make a realistic strategic planning for next year, an annual operating plan that actually is based in operations, not in finance. That is super important. And the same info is the basis for letting you know what does a point of OEE increase actually bring us. So if you're interested in that, I immediately already can recommend you one of my courses online. You can do it at any moment, which teaches you how to calculate the financial benefits of certain operational improvements. OEE among them, with the difference of needed for output or not needed for output. This OEE increases here will save you money, but also for waste and defects and energy and maintenance spend and things like that. So there are important links between your operational results and the financial effect it has on your company. It's super important to have that clear for your operational excellence program. Check out that course. But as I said a bit earlier, if you want to do this, especially roughly now, right, September, October, for your department or your whole factory, and you want to do that together with me and a couple of the other viewers of the channel, then sign up and I'll let you know how and when we are going to do this, because I am psyched to know that people who follow my channel, like students like you, of operational excellence, enthusiasts of continuous improvement, will use this for their own departments. This is such a powerful tool to connect operations management with financial expectations and to be able to discuss with your commercial team, to be able to discuss with the CEO. This is where it all gets together on a more strategic management layer. And that, of course, that is where you also want to be. Even if you are not a continuous improvement manager, you want to be thinking at that strategic and more management level, because that is where the mission comes from, right? That is a main stakeholder for your production organization, is the boss, right? Stakeholders are not just your client in environmental services. No. Your boss and your shareholders, key stakeholders to your business and career success. So let me know if you want to join in doing this yourself, really having it implemented at the end. And if you like the video, don't also forget to just hit that like button. I like those things as well. For now, I wish you the best of luck analyzing the capacity of your line, thinking about how this links up with finance. And as always, don't forget to also enjoy the continuous improvement journey.